these on him. He knew they were inside God because he went there. That's why he said, I'm like the Most High. He had gemstones on the outside. God had him on the inside because God created him to be connected to him. He was going to be over one of the most holy things in heaven, that would be worship. He created a place inside of him for Lucifer to go and stand. And when he would open his wings and make that beautiful music, the fire of God would rise up. And the light from the gemstones on Lucifer would be almost blinding. So he actually was created to be connected to him in that way because of the worship that would come into his heart. He made him for that. So he was considered a holy being. He was considered special. God made him special because worship is special. But I knew instantly why he said he was like him. He's standing there holding a gemstone. It was the biggest diamond I had ever seen in my life. I like to bring this because it really does something when you see it. It makes sense. Not only that, I knew where the rainbow came from inside of God. Wow. If you take a diamond or any gemstone and you put light underneath it, what shoots out of it? And say that really loud. A rainbow. You can hold up any faceted gemstone or crystal by a light, and I promise you it will produce a rainbow. And that is even a scientific explanation. So this is how the rainbow is generated from the Father. Inside the heart of his Spirit are thousands of these gemstones. That fire that burns for you and I burns up around those gemstones, and it shoots that rainbow out all the way around the Father. So you know a mystery that almost nobody knows. Does it actually make sense? Yes. Revelation brings simple truth. Your natural mind craves knowledge, but your spirit being craves revelation because it's truth. And so it actually makes sense, even in the natural, that those stones of fire, those gemstones, would create a rainbow. It does here on earth because it does in heaven. This also symbolizes God's heart. Gemstones are valuable in heaven because they represent the heart of the Father. That's where they come from. All of them come from there. They call it the crystal sea because around the gemstones is this river that flows from the heart of God, over top of these gemstones, out of God, under the throne room and down the city street. People who die and go to heaven reach down and pick gemstones out of the water. Why do you think they call it the crystal sea? Because as that river flows, it takes gemstones with it. That river of life becomes a crystal sea. It's the only source of water in heaven. It starts like a small stream and becomes a river and then a sea that even big sail ships sail on. In the bottom of the whole entire crystal sea are gemstones. And I used to tell people it looked like that somebody dumped 1 million diamonds in that thing. They did. It was God. Because when you look at the surface of the water, light shoots out of the water. It doesn't reflect it. It shoots literally out of it. You see beams of colored light everywhere. And now I knew then why they call it the crystal sea. Because the river of life flows from the heart of God. It carries the gemstones down into the river, out into the sea. And I can tell you this. You know what the trash men do when they go to heaven? Guess what? They pick up and deliver. I told this guy, asked me one time, because I know what some people do when they go there, or certain giftings. He said, well, what did the trash men do? There's no trash in heaven. You said there was no trash. I said, no, but what do they call trash on earth? One man's trash is another man's. They harvest these gemstones from the crystal sea, and there's like piles of them. They go and pick them up and deliver them to this place they call the depot. And your robe is embellished with gemstones before you ever get to heaven. Every time you portray the heart of God on this earth, by loving people, helping people, by giving, they put gemstones on your robe because it portrays the heart of God. In your sidewalk, there's gemstones. In the flower beds, there's gemstones. Why do you think he's dropping them from heaven? He's dropping bits of his heart. And you know, in the flower beds, the mulch are gemstones. They don't have cypress mulch. They have gemstones. And the angels reach down and gather up a handful, and they go to a portal and drop them down. They're dropping down on the earth. That's where they come from. All from the heart of God, but eventually find their way down here. And that's why he does. I knew he embellished your robes, but I didn't know why. I thought, well, they're just beautiful, and he wants you to let you know how blessed he is. No, he's putting bits of his heart on your robe, and you wear it when you go home to heaven. Those robes make music. When you walk down the streets of gold, your clothing makes music. It glows with the light of God, especially the robes. And you know what? You don't have to ask people what they did with their life. If somebody walks down the street of gold and they have diamonds and rubies and emeralds all over every square inch, you will run up and ask them, how did you pour your life out? Because you know that they truly portrayed the heart of God if their robe was that beautiful. And God does it to honor you. And he knows that people are going to know that. You know when you get to heaven that that's why your robe has gemstones on it, because it portrays the heart of God. And also, it does symbolize love when you get engaged. What do you give somebody to represent love? See, does it make sense now? Yeah. That's why they're so valuable. And see, this is the other thing God wants you to know. When he looks at you and you receive Christ, this is what he sees. He doesn't see you as old dirt put together with a spirit on the inside. He takes these gemstones and places them in the earth, in the dirt. Well, he takes them. When you become born again, guess what you get put in the heart of your spirit? Everyone who is born again has stones of fire on the inside of your spirit. One of the reasons the enemy hates you is you are made in God's image. Not just the outside, but the inside. You are made in God's image after his likeness. And when you get born again, he places these on the inside of you. And this is what he said, tell my people, I do not come and live in their human heart. I live in the same place inside of them that they used to live inside of me. So inside of you, in your spirit being, is eternity placed. You are already an eternal being. You are not waiting for eternity. You are already in it if you belong to him. The reason Satan wants to possess people, he wants to take over people, is we can create something. We can create life. He can't create anything. The only thing he ever could create was music, which is why he has such a stronghold on it. And he does put his lyrics in there, and he does put his messages in there, and it affects people. Don't listen to his stuff. But this is one of the reasons why he hates us. He was the only one that could say, I'm made in the image of God. I am like the Most High God. We are God's offspring, his children. We should have these on the inside of us if we're made in his image. Well, now I'm going to give you one more thing that he told me. When Christ was crucified and he entered down into the pits of hell and they thought they won, on the third day when he stood up and the glory of God began to emanate from the inside of him, the light that blinded everyone in hell, and Christ went around, and it says he ruined and spoiled the principality and powers, the hierarchy of Satan's realm. He went one by one. He didn't just beat them up. It said he ruined them. They still have the marks on them from the day he went and ruined them and wrecked their entire appearance. When you ruin something, you can't fix it, right? It said he ruined them. And then it says he went to Satan and he stripped him. This is what he stripped off of him.